If President Donald Trump had his way, gold and silver prices would shoot the moon almost in an instant. I'll explain why and how in this video as we explore. Indeed, not only does the President of the United States want that to happen, but apparently the Vice President does as well. And that is to get the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates. Now, lowering interest rates will cause gold and silver prices to go up more than likely whenever that does happen, or at the perspective that it will happen. In other words, when they predict it's going to happen, it's going to have an impact on the market. But what Donald Trump is calling for is quite radical. We're going to get into that in a moment, but first I want to remind you of channel sponsor Summit Metals. Summit Metals has your gold and silver products and at competitive prices, excellent service, and fast shipping. So check them out at summitmetals.com. I'm going to be referencing a piece here from Fox Business of what Donald Trump wants to do, but also what J.D. Vance has just mentioned. And I think this is quite intriguing. He calls it monetary malpractice, what the Federal Reserve is doing. And I think that is quite apropos in many ways. Vice President J.D. Vance echoed President Donald Trump's calls for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. The president has been saying this for a while, but it's even more clear. The refusal by the Fed to cut rates is monetary malpractice, Vance wrote in a post on X. J.P. Cortez really edited the post to say what it really accurately represents is the Federal Reserve is monetary malpractice. Trump also repeated his prior call for the U.S. Central Bank to cut interest rates by a full point. Here is what Trump said. CPI just out. Great numbers. Fed should lower 1 full point. Would pay much less interest on debt coming due. So important, Trump wrote in a post on Truth Social. And he is right on that. But it would cut the debt, and we're paying more on the interest on the debt than our entire military budget. And so there is that. So I think that is quite intriguing to see that, but it is a very radical move here. Very radical move. But you know what? Donald Trump is not the only radical president we've had that has really upended the apple cart of the presidency. I'm going to be talking about another president with a really cool piece of silver here later in the video, so you're not going to want to miss that. But he wants to lower it a full point. I can't remember the last time that has ever happened. Maybe during Paul Volcker's time as Fed chair. And he got death threats because of raising interest rates by that much, maybe, or more. But to lower it a full point would be a pretty big move. Now, that would send metals to the moon, and I think it would also probably really greatly weaken the dollar, maybe even more so than what Trump would like. But that is a possibility and something to think about. The dollar is weakening to such a point that it may be tough to recover from, may be the unintended consequence of such an action. And I'm sure Donald Trump is smart enough to understand that the dollar would be hit and be hit hard. But who knows? With de-dollarization happening right now, you might be playing with fire. But nonetheless, the Federal Reserve does that every single day, trying to manage the economy and go, take its mandate and expand upon it. But the two posts came after the Bureau of Labor Statistics released the latest consumer price index, and we've also got other reports that showed the economy is doing better than expected. Showed inflation in May was cooler than analysts expected. CPI rose 0.1% in May compared to the prior month, while it was up 2.4% on an annual basis. They're slightly cooler than the estimates of economists polled, and the annual CPI ticked up from 2.3% a month ago. So in other words, inflation is increasing, but maybe not necessarily because of the tariffs, and that was one of the things that they're looking at here. But, I've not looked through the history of Federal Reserve rate cuts, but we know Volcker was a rate hiker, and dramatically. But to cut that much that quickly, I don't know that would occur. But you think about if that was to happen, if Trump really does want that, it would be a shock to the system for sure. However, understanding Donald Trump is something that a lot of people don't, even those who are fans. And so I would dare say that Donald Trump is saying this as part of a negotiating tactic. He always starts out with the ridiculous and then say, well, we'll lower it a half point, and that's really what he wanted all along. However, usually these rate hikes and cuts are in quarter point increments. Very rarely, although we have seen it lately, or the last couple of times it's happened, do we see half point moves. So if he gets a half point, I think Donald Trump would be tickled pink or tickled red, or however you want to look at it. But nonetheless, I think that's really what he wants, is a half point cut. If they do a half point cut, it would still cause precious metals to go up, maybe even more than we think. Right now, precious metals are enjoying, especially gold right now, is enjoying its climb based off of geopolitical events occurring in Israel and Iran right now, with the war waging in that region. But nonetheless, the precious metal could keep going up for economic reasons as well. And it just goes to show you that precious metals indeed do react based off some technical data and triggers that are there, but that can all be thrown up in a flash in a pan whenever there's geopolitical events that certainly can move the markets very dramatically and very quickly. So you couple if Donald Trump's, if they were to capitulate and lower rates by 1%, and then boom, there's some other geopolitical event that comes along the way, well, we're talking a massive increase for both gold and likely even, well, silver maybe not so much, but we could see gold easily climb to maybe even $3,600 to $3,800, maybe very quickly, if that were to be the case. And silver very well could, hold on and maybe climb up a bit more. But who knows? We'll see. But nonetheless, let's talk about what another president has done. There's another president who was responsible for this design here of the St. Gaudens Gold Double Eagle. This is an American eagle, but nonetheless, the gold double eagle is an amazing coin, and that is one for the history books. And we know that Teddy Roosevelt is very good at getting things done quickly, and that's how we got our coins to be redesigned. I'm going to move this out of the way and show you a piece from Specters that they have sent to me for review that honoring Teddy Roosevelt, who is known as a hunter, and he also had a knife. Indeed. And this is Teddy Roosevelt's knife. Amazing craftsmanship in this. Look at that display. Theodore Roosevelt's hunting knife. And this is absolutely amazing. Limited edition piece out of 1909. That is a significant year, obviously, if you know the history of Teddy Roosevelt. But he was the 26th president of the United States. He was an adventurer, conservationist, and military leader whose legacy as a champion of the American frontier remains unmatched. In 1909, as he prepared for his African expedition, Roosevelt received a ceremonial hunting knife from his friend Justice James W. Garrard. The knife is an exquisite example of Roosevelt's legacy, is meticulously recreated in this 2-ounce silver collectible. The original knife, a masterpiece of the early 20th century craftsmanship, featured an eagle's head handle with a red garnet eyes, intricate forest scenes, and the U.S. arms with Roosevelt's initials, all reproduced with gold gilding on this coin. And you can see it there. It's absolutely amazing. I'm going to pull it out of this packaging so we can get a closer look of it. It's absolutely incredible work on this piece. Just that handle was just exquisite. And there's the presidential seal handle there. Really cool. And so this is showcase here with stylized eagle with the Great Seal of the United States between the two trees, as you can see there, flanked by a wishbone. And then we have an Art Nouveau style intertwined with initials TR. where the T is shaped like the wings of an eagle, and in silver. The handguard is shaped with two outward-facing bear heads. The blade is engraved with the inscription presented to Theodore Roosevelt by his friend James W. Guard. And there you look at that design. Absolutely amazing. And it is a coin from Samoa. It's got the Spectre's logo there. And just absolutely stunning here. $5 is the denomination. And there's a serial number also on the top there. Absolutely amazing. There's the TR. Just incredible. There's the eagle there on that. And look at that on both sides. Absolutely amazing. It was issued by Samoa in 2025. And just an absolutely incredible piece. It's stunning. And one of my favorite pieces that that Spectre's has, and they've been out of stock for a while, but you can use my special code, SAL20, during the checkout process to acquire one of these, if you so desire, to save on your purchase. But there it is. Amazing. So let me know what your thoughts are, and I especially love this display as well. I think it's a great way to be able to showcase. They do such a great job of packaging in this way that it just really gives a whole new feeling to this that's incredible. A museum quality piece, no doubt. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.